There we go. Hi, everybody. This is Monica with No Conditions. I'm back with another episode with my amazing guest, Mr. Grant Carmon. And I am so excited. Thank you so much for getting on here with me and chatting with me. And we're 6 feet apart, which is a good thing. So that way we're no longer in the studio or my shop, I should say. We are actually Zooming it. So I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity to get the message out.
And everyone can see your face. I'm zooming for the first time. First couple of times was kind of weird, but now I'm getting better at it. I'm liking it a little bit more.
It may not be a good thing. I've always been told I have a face for radio, so we'll
Oh,
see.
don't believe them. People that usually say that are the ones that have a face for radio. So I wanted to talk to you. I got a lot of questions after our first interview that we aired, and a lot of people, when I kind of hinted around who I was going to have next and who I was going to do, I kind of sent out little feelers, and then I got a whole bunch of questions back, which was great. I got about a dozen questions, and it was kind of interesting to see people's take on it, and especially during this pandemic, the COVID-19, all that kind of stuff. So running for supervisor, they had quite a few questions, and I was wondering if you would be willing to answer a few that they had.
Yeah, fire away out. I'll do my best to answer anybody's questions.
Okay. One of the questions, what have you taken from this pandemic as far as how the Board of Supervisors handled the lockdown when this first originally started? What was your take on it?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the very beginning, I felt that we could have had more information. About the only thing we were seeing was these daily videos from the governor and stuff like that. I'm sure that there was things going on behind the scenes, but it would just been nice, I think, to just have a little bit more information to the public, let them know what they're working on, and trying to get covered in that aspect. So just being able to keep everybody informed is a big thing. That way, they don't feel like they're in the dark.
Yeah, I think the transparency was a little lacking, but other than that, it was, it kind of, but of course, we kind of have to take into account that this was new for everybody. I get that. We have never, I don't ever remember it ever being like this. Do you? Do you ever
No.
remember it? It's just crazy, but I'm glad to see. Do you think the letter that they sent out, do you think that had something to do with maybe the easing up on the county and going that way with it? Do you think that had any take on the governor where he was like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah, I definitely think that that was definitely a good step in the right direction. Our local officials, Dr. Garrison, our Glenn County health official guy, those are the people that I would want to get their advice. And if they're saying, hey, we're ready to move on to these next phases and such, that's what I want to go with. I'm not a doctor. I was an EMT for quite a few years, so I have a little bit of medical background, but as far as dealing with viruses and their spread and all that stuff, definitely defer to them. And I think our local people have a better feel for our economy and all of our citizenry here on when would be the best time to open up and such. So us having that control, I think, is a big win.
Mm-hmm. And see, that was another thing that I was kind of curious about, was for myself is, you can't really compare Orland to Sacramento. You can't compare Orland to, we're such a rural community. Do you think it was wrong of the government to kind of lump us into the same boat, I should say? Or, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're definitely, Sacramento, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, all those big cities, it's a whole different animal compared to what we have up here. You can't manage them the same way as you manage us up here. It's the population is just so different. Glenn County has about 30,000 people. That's a big neighborhood down in the Sacramento area. So trying to do the blanket politics or blanket governing just didn't work in this pandemic situation, because we're different.
Yeah. And I'm also wondering where it's kind of like a standstill, where you sit there and you think, is this going to be our new norm? Is this going to be, do you think, PPEs are going to be necessary for, non-essential now that we're kind of releasing a little bit? Do you think that's going to be the new norm? We're going to have to start wearing masks when we go to the store. We're going to have to start wearing gloves. I mean, or do you think that'll kind of lighten up a little bit?
I would hope it would lighten up, but again, I'm not a doctor, and I've heard so many different conflicting things on whether the masks are good, whether they're bad. The main thing I've kind of heard is, if you are feeling a little under weather, definitely wear the mask. That way you're not transmitting, out to somebody else. But I would hope that that's not going to be our new norm for forever. For the distant future here, I definitely think that that's something we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
To kind of protect everybody. We'll see how things play out.
Mhm. Has it changed your profession any? Where is it coming onto a scene or anything? Is there like, oh, I have to remember them, like more steps and all that kind of stuff that you kind of have to do before going in somewhere?
It's definitely one more thing we think about.
Hmm.
The dispatch is they're supposed to be asking callers questions, asking them about, is there anybody there that fevers, coughs, and some of the symptoms and stuff like that. And then if they say yes, then we try and, accordingly be protected, put on gloves, put on the mask if we're going to go into those scenes. And I know the local fire department kind of has the same protocols. If they are going into a scene where they think, someone definitely could possibly have COVID-19, they limit the amount of people in there, just the necessary manpower, just go in, and the rest stay outside, and definitely wear the protective equipment. So,
because you really don't know what you're walking into, and that's the crappy thing. I kind of sit back and think about it. Before you didn't know what anybody had, and now it's like it's just one more thing, more crap that you have to deal with, more questions on your mind of, it's just an added layer, I guess you should say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's some good things I think they're going to come out of it. I think, personal hygiene is going to be a huge one, to where, from here on out, I think for a long time, people are going to be washing their hands more, using the hand sanitizer. Maybe even the handshaking might go away. My knuckles are getting
That's
sore.
gonna
Fist
suck.
bump. So many people are using your elbow and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So things can change. They're not always all for the bad. So.
I'm a bring it in type of gal. I like hugs. I like all that kind of stuff. And this has really ruined it for me.
Yeah, if you're a hugger, that's definitely one thing that's gonna hamper you.
It's pretty sad seeing all my 80 and 90-year-old clients, and they come in and they're actually doing the fist bump. Before, they had no idea what it was, and now they're like, no more hugs, gonna do a fist bump.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Get the old 80, 90-year-old grandmother doing the fist bump with the
And then,
explosion at the end.
yeah, that would be awesome. So going forward, I hope this never happens again, because I'm hoping that we're on the right track, and especially as a county, we're moving forward, and we never hear the words lockdown again, because I don't think I can handle searching for toilet paper anymore. I'm so sick and tired of that crap. But
Yeah.
if this should happen again, was there anything that you saw that maybe could have used some improvements, as far as on the state and local level? Is there certain things where you're like, what, if I was ever, if should I get elected, this is what I would kind of do differently. This is how I would handle a certain situation.
Yeah, kind of like I said before about the information to everybody. I think that is huge. And in the modern era that we have nowadays, with the Facebook and
Mm-hmm.
Twitters and Instagram and stuff like that, if I got elected, I would want to see the Board of Supervisors, have a Facebook page where they
Mm-hmm.
are putting out information. I know that the county, they put out briefs and information every once in a while on their website, and some emails here and there. But with the modern era, Facebook and everything like that, I think we're lacking in that area, and that's an area we could improve on.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be one area I'd want to try and do. And also I'd want to try and, I think I'd have pushed a little sooner for us to be able to make the decision on when we open. Colusa County just recently, all the Board of Supervisors, they voted 5-0 to stop all of the any type of restrictions. They pretty much gave the green light, and they said, look, everybody, you can open up your businesses. Let's be smart about it, be safe about it, be respectful of others. And that's, I think that was a big move, even though we were kind of starting to open up already, but it just kind of showed that the Board of Supervisors down there, they had faith in their community and that they would make the right decision and make good choices. So that would be something I would have tried to push for a little bit sooner, giving us the control and letting our citizenry, because we've got a great group of people up here in Glenn County, and we're all pretty smart, and our medical personnel we're saying that we're doing good. And most of the cases, were either linked to a certain individual and then kind of spread amongst family or people that had visited and stuff. So it wasn't it wasn't spreading like wildfire, like through the community, like we thought at first. I mean, definitely, the initial lockdown, until they kind of, were able to figure out a little bit better what's going on, how it's spread and stuff. I agree with that, but I think it went on a little longer than it needed to.
Mm-hmm. And see, I kind of felt the same way too. The ones that, were, susceptible and had, a compromised immune system, those are the ones that you really want to look out for. And people should look out for their fellow man and do the shopping if they need to. If they don't have any family, give them a hotline that they can contact so that way they can get food or however they do it. But not letting people who are young, healthy, no borderline problems of health issues or anything, they need to get out, they need to go to work. I've never seen this, and it was so strange for me because it was everywhere. I mean, it was just, and it was crazy and it was scary, but I just felt like the state leaders were making decisions for people that they have nothing in common with. Absolutely nothing. Those guys don't know what it's like to go to the grocery store with a calculator. And now you add in depression, you add in, drug use, domestic violence. I'm sure all of that escalated, the longer that this went on. And I don't think that they took that into account. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah. In law enforcement, we definitely saw an uptick in the domestic violence issues, because everybody just stuck indoors with each other. We usually kind of see that around the holidays as well. You get all the family together and stuff like that and start having some issues. But yeah, it kind of felt like they're in a disconnect. I mean, a lot of the politicians, they live in the gated communities and they're not living paycheck to paycheck. And, like yourself, the regulations they put on the hair salons, it's not feasible.
No.
To do all the things that they want you to do and jump through all the hoops and then still try and make a living. It's just not possible. So.
And also too, they got to remember, it's not this year that we're worried about, it's next year. That's kind of what we do in a business. I was talking to Ryan Newman. She's used to be the fair board manager. She owns, a concession for the fair, and, the fair not being here in town, us missing out on that, the graduations, they used to take their little concession stand. It was an ice cream one, and go around to all the places. And now, since you can't have a crowd over a certain amount, that's the hard part, is not being able to be involved in that. And that's what sucks for them. And for us is, that's the money that we were banking on for the following year, to get us by. And you can't even guarantee that anymore. And that's what scared me the most, because most of us didn't receive unemployment. Most of us didn't receive the stimulus package. And if it wasn't for people who were looking out for us, just like you, I think what you and your wife Rose did in the beginning of this, what you guys did with your stimulus check, looking out for your people that you're representing, you really wanted to do something good, and you did. You put that money to good use. And I don't know if anybody knows this on here, but you put out on social media about who is in need. You knew you and your wife didn't necessarily need that because you both were essential employees, so you were getting a paycheck. So you decided to put that stimulus check to good use, and you bought a meat package for a family in need, and it wasn't even in your district, you know? I wish that we had more people like you and your wife.
Yeah, if everybody that was able to do that stepped up and did that, that would, it would be able to help a lot of people out there. We wish we were able to have done more.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. I got a lot of messages from a lot of different people in the county, even some out of the county. The video I did, it just exploded in a matter of days. We had, I believe, 5,000-6,000 views on it, and it was just phenomenal. And we were able to help 4 different families. We helped 3 down in Willows and one here in the Orland City. So it was great, and it made my wife and I feel good, and we felt like we were able to use that stimulus money for what it was intended. So
Absolutely.
I come into us, it wasn't that helpful,
Mhm.
because we were both working. So
Yeah. No, and I wish that there was more people like that, because there was a lot of essential people that took it. They didn't necessarily need it, and which I'm sure some of them did, but no, it was greatly appreciated. So now that this is coming, we're getting closer to November, we're getting closer to election time. How is it going to work for not having a crowd over a certain amount for campaigning? I mean, has that changed anything for you?
I'll definitely have to rely a lot on social media. I could still go to door to door and just talk to people from a distance and stuff. So I think it'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
My dogs are letting me know there's something out in the backyard.
Squirrel farted. That's what mine
Yeah.
usually does. They're like, oh, dog barked 10 miles away. We got to bark. That means you're human, and I love it.
Yeah.
But no, I was kind of curious how that was going to go come election time. I was really curious.
Yeah, I'm going to rely heavily on Facebook. I've done a few videos on my election page, and
I saw that.
that's been real helpful. And I'm always, if someone out there listening to this has a topic that they want me to, talk about or look into, definitely hit me up and let me know.
Now, are you willing to take any questions on Facebook? If anybody should have any questions for you, they can contact you through Messenger and just say, hey, this is what I got.
Yeah, and if I don't know the answer, I'll do what I can to try and find the answer for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't claim to be to have all the answers, but I feel I can find them for you. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I want to brush lightly on this. Everyone's talking about it. The riots that are going on, the death of the gentleman, George. What is your take on that? Or if you wanted.
Yeah, as a police officer watching that video, it's unfathomable, the actions that those officers took. And I'm glad to see that they're going through the legal process. I mean, I've been charged.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad. What really bothers me though is nobody, that should never happen to anybody to begin
No.
with. But now that they're doing the protests, I'm all about that, and I would even go march with a peaceful protest myself.
Mm-hmm.
But doing the violence and the burning, the destroying, the vandalism, the beating people, the business owners, and stuff like that, it just takes away from the whole point that they were trying to make. And it's just sad to see, destroying someone else's property or assaulting someone. That's no way to get a point across. That's no way to have change come about. So that's just, it's sad to see. And I hope that the government's able to get things under control. And, then maybe we can work on trying to get some sort of reform to where something like this never happens again.
Yeah. And I think like it's way above my pay grade. I have no idea how to even go forward or what to do. I don't even pretend to know what it's like over there for them. But as a business owner standpoint, it's heartbreaking to know that it just completely, I mean, it's going to take years for those people to rebuild, reconnect, everything. It's just, it's truly sad that it took something that they had an opportunity and they just lost it.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Everybody, I didn't talk to a single person that, thought, well, let's, wait and see what all the evidence comes out. I mean, you watch the video, that's pretty clear. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a horrible thing. And they had, the president speaking out against it. Every law enforcement officer that I talked to was against it. You know, all these different groups were against it. And for them to take that opportunity of everybody listening and to turn it into this, it just deflated their whole cause.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I completely agree. And it's saddening. It really, truly is. Especially now, because I know that there was one store that was open during the whole pandemic, the lockdown, everything. They stayed open. They decided to go against the grain and, we're going to stay open for you, even though they couldn't afford it themselves because they weren't getting certain supplies, but they were helping out, and it got burned down.
Oh, that's horrible.
And that's the reality of it is we're tearing down our own sandcastle is basically what we're doing, and we're moving on to another and another and another. So it's
Yeah.
very disheartening.
And the economy is already devastated from being shut down for so long. We're just starting to, see the stock market come back, and the communities and the businesses starting to open back up. And then for this to happen, it's like a 1-2 punch, and it's just sad to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be nothing but a memory. I really, truly hope that, but I don't know. How are you and Rose handling this? I mean, in the beginning, was it kind of rough? Was it like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? Did you guys do the toilet paper craze? I have to ask that.
I don't know that we did it. We suffered from it for sure. Whoever started that should be taken out back and flogged, because
exactly
that was just ridiculous. But no, since it's just me and my wife, we don't have any kids, so we don't cook at home a whole lot, because making a mess for just the two of us, sometimes it's just not worth it. So we eat out quite a bit, and all of a sudden everything just started shutting down. It was like, oh my gosh, we're having to start cooking at home and stuff like that. So it was definitely a little bit of a change there, but nothing too dramatic.
Do you agree with people when they said, if anything that we can get out of this is, learning that home and family and time together with your loved ones, do you agree with that should have been the time that people took most advantage of being one-on-one with your family and all that? Do you think that's hopefully what people will take away from that?
Yeah, it's, the family's number one. I mean, before anything else, getting to spend that time together, especially the people with kids, not having them going to school. They learned a real valuable lesson of how cherished our school teachers and
holy crap
are, to be able to put up with our kids for 8 hours a day. So that's definitely shows how important the family unit and the hard work that the teachers put in to help keep our kids educated. So
you got to remember, when I was in well, most people don't know this, but when I was in high school, when I was a senior, I was in remedial math. That was just to get me over the hump so that way I could graduate. So my poor daughter, I kept looking at her stuff going, don't they have a question like Sally had 4 apples, she ate one? How many? like that's my jam. That's my wheelhouse. You hit me up with Sally and 4 apples and we're good. But now it's X and Y and all this crap. I don't know what any of that stuff is.
Yeah,
I don't think.
and they have the Common Core math, which no clue. It to me, it looks like it makes it 2 or 3 times harder than it should be.
It's ridiculous. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I know how to do that. And it doesn't matter, because in Common Core, even if you get the answer right, it's the formula that has to be right. You have to get both of those little doohickeys going. And if you don't get it right, then you're SOL is basically how it goes. So, but I do have to give props to all the teachers. They were excellent. Also to, I don't know if you saw this or not, but through the school district, the cafeteria is open over at CK Price. At lunchtime, they were offering free lunches to kids. And it was, a huge thank you to Jennifer Shermer and her crew that were there at CK. They're there every single day, I think, other than Fridays, but they're giving out lunches. Some days they're giving out breakfast and lunch together. You get 3 meals. So this whole no kids hungry type thing in our community, and I think that's really great. So if anything, we've come to this is people are giving. That's what I like. especially through our school district. So, but yeah, that was awesome. So election November, you're gonna just hammer it out, and it's gonna be a whole new beast for you.
Yeah, hopefully things go well and we can get elected to the Board of Supervisor position. It's super exciting. It's a whole new chapter. I'm getting ready to retire from law enforcement here in about a year and a half. So if I'm able to roll into that, it's kind of a whole new segment to give a try and be able to continue to give back to the community. So, I'm super excited about it, and I hope things go in our favor. So,
Are you surprised at the community how they're embracing you? I mean, they're really, not that you're surprised about it or anything, but I mean, going door to door, were you surprised that most of them were asking questions that you're like, wow, that was a really good one? Is there anyone that stand out?
I had a lot of people asking me about our farming and the water situation out here in the rural area. That was one of the big topics, and about the flooding on Hambright. That was another issue that got brought up a lot. But yeah, it's nice to see that people want to be engaged. Occasionally you go to some houses and they're like, well, I'm not even registered to vote. And it's just sad to see. I mean, some people feel that their votes don't count, but every single vote counts, and we want to hear your voice, and I want to be there to be your voice for our community.
I will tell you, there are 2 people that are in your district that went and registered to vote so they could vote for you. I will tell you that.
Well, that is awesome.
Yes. So you are making a difference. Those 2 votes, they are super excited. One of the woman remembers you bringing Ruger to the school and to preschools, and she thought it was just great. And she said, you know what? She says, I have never registered to vote. Politics is not my jam. But when she saw that you were running, she just thinks that you're a great guy. And her and her husband both went and registered to vote. So, and she says, unfortunately, she says, my son is only 17. She says, so he can't register. She says, but he is uber excited. He's pushing for it and pushing for it. So you are making a huge difference. You really, truly are.
Oh, thank you. I hope to be able to, if I win, I hope I represent everybody well and don't disappoint. So.
So is there anything you'd like to add before I wrap this up, or is there anything on the docket that we need to know about?
Nothing on the docket really at this time. Hit me up if you have something you want me to do a video on to look into something. I'm more than happy to do that. Just want to say thank you to all the frontline workers out there, all the nurses and the doctors and firemen and the police officers, for you guys being out there and risking your necks. It's greatly appreciated by everyone in the community. And just a big thank you to you, Monica. I mean, you've been a great outlet and a big supporter of mine, and I can't thank you enough. And, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. I'd do anything for you. And I really, truly hope the best. I hope that people are smart. They go out and come election day, they put a check mark right by Grant Carmon for Supervisor District 1. I think that would be great. So anybody that is interested, you can get on Facebook. You can look up, it's called Elect Grant Carmon Supervisor District 1. Get on Facebook. If you guys have any questions, make sure you message him. You can contact him directly and he'll answer any questions that you guys have. Let's wish him the best of luck. Come November, we're gonna make it happen. So if anybody has any questions, you guys can always contact me at noconditions2020@gmail.com. Again, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. You guys can find us on Facebook and Instagram. I'd like to thank Mr. Grant Carmon for coming in, hanging out, talking to me. This has been a blast. And hopefully after a while, Zoom will no longer be, we can actually sit face to face and not have to worry about it. So, all right, everybody, this is Monica and I am out. Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.